thank you everybody for coming and joining us to this webinar. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Rimma. She's an AI complaint expert. And whenever you are ready, Dr. Rimma, please share your screen and start.
All right. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everyone. My pleasure is to speak on this forum and about my favorite topic, AI compliance. I hope it will be interesting, and I hope also to bring a little bit of my say experience here, especially with such an emerging topic. And please, during the presentation, feel free to interrupt if you have a question, because I think the discussion here will be very valuable, rather than just me talking. So let me introduce first myself. I will start share the screen. My background. I'm from industry. So I spent 15 years at the oil and gas petrochemical industry, from engineering and also leading a global AI team over there, basically developing and deploying AI-based software on the global scale. At the same time, I was also part of European Commission working group developing code of practice for Gen AI. And in parallel, I'm keeping my affiliation with the university, with the Eindhoven University of Technology, doing the research in AI compliance. Recently, because of the law and also because the niche is so unique, so there are not so many as a companies or experts who knows and domain, especially critical infrastructure domain and AI technology and compliance. So we just saw the scarcity of, let's say, company organization who will do audit of AI, who will do audit of especially high-risk AI, the conformity assessment. So recently, together with my team, I started Explore Ray. It's a conformity assessment for high-risk AI. So in principle, we are now going through the accreditation to become an official conformity assessment body, and later to become a notified body for high-risk AI, for certain high-risk AI. So that's my background. Feel free to ask questions, but just if I can't answer, then we'll post it and I will definitely answer you later on. Today, what I would like to talk about is also based on my experience about who owns AI compliance. Because in most of the organization and in organization I worked in the past and organizations I'm seeing now being as a conformity assessment company, there is a lot of ambiguity. Who is actually the owner? Is it legal? Is it IT? Is it operational? And another thing is what I see, there is a lot of hidden AI actually the top management of the companies even have no clue about. But everybody need to remain compliant. Yeah, and that's actually the main message of today. Just know when and how AI is used. Know your roles and responsibilities. I'm also going to talk about a little bit of hidden trap where your responsibilities might shift to be just for your awareness. Yeah. When sometimes I'm talking to organizations, I'm asking how many AI you are using today. 5, 20, 50, even more. Sometimes organizations saying actually we are so old-fashioned, we don't use AI at all, like we are just starting our journeys. But in fact, it's at this moment it's actually almost not possible anymore. Yeah. So what I also see that many organizations they just don't know how much AI they are using. As an example, we have Microsoft Copilot. We have ChatGPT. Okay, ChatGPT maybe is not allowed in many organizations, but we have Adobe. Adobe now have AI assistants. How it's been used, nobody knows. We have HR platforms. Oracle or whatever who is provider, they're all now integrating AI assistants almost everywhere. Analytics tool, Power BI, simply like if you're making your I don't know, regression analysis on the in the Power BI, it's also falls under AI definition. So there are almost all your enterprise software already have embedded AI in. And the most important for you is to know what you have and how it's being used, because that's actually essential when we talk about compliance. And that's actually the message is many times I'm here, like if we don't develop AI, so AI Act doesn't apply to us. It's only for providers. It's only for companies who is software providers, yeah, or a company who deliver the product. Yes and no. In fact, AI compliance affects everybody, and who is supplying the system and who is deploying the system. So you really need to know your role in this, let's say, in this scenario. So who are you? Are you a deployer or are you a provider? Just to give you a bit of examples, when you are provider and when you are deployer, let's say you are using HR platform. And HR platform is dedicated to screen and select the CVs based on the keywords or whatever, yeah, but it's embedded AI in it. Traditionally, vendor who is providing this software to you, to your organization, would be a high risk, would be AI provider. In this case, HR platform, which is screening CV, it actually falls under high risk. I will tell a little bit more about the background of being high risk AI. Falls under compliance, let's put that way. And then in this case, the vendor is going to be provider of AI, and in this case, high risk AI. Deployer, if you are using this platform, and you also have responsibilities. Yeah, that's the, if you are provider, you need to basically nowadays for all high risk AI, you need to make sure that you have a conformity assessment, that you have a CE marking. And for the deployers, you need to make sure that you have human oversight, that your staff has been trained how to use AI, in particular this tool. You need to do logging and you need to monitor how it's been used. So those are the critical roles to remember, provider or deployer. And they will be very critical when we talk about AI Act. Maybe before we go to the fundamentals, what is actually AI Act and what are the risk categories? Maybe just to understand where we're standing as an industry. So from my experience and from talking to industry and from academic research, what I see in average, yeah, it's average. Of course, some industry going a little bit faster, some of them a little bit slower. But on average, I think the experimentation, like wide-scale experimentation starts, of course, when LLMs boomed in to the market, when we get ChatGPT, when we get some other tools running around. So then when basically most of the organizations start playing around with AI. Before it was really was very suspicious of like not many organizations even touched it. But since 2023, it comes to their, let's say, to the level of almost on the radars of almost all the companies, all the organizations. What I see also in the year after, we start talk, because of the adoption, of course, start talk about more about AI policies, ethical AI, transparency, all this thing, how it should be used, about the data protection. The companies start creating, guardrails, not to share the data with, I don't know, the ChatGPT or something like this. So that was the basically year of when the policy starts creating, internal and external. And of course, the law was also came to the basically it was born this year. Yeah, that's and then last year it was really scale up in enterprise deployment. So almost all enterprise start basically showing up that they're using AI, how they're using AI, enabling Microsoft Copilot. Copilot actually getting into the market speed up enormously adoption of AI because almost all the organizations are using Microsoft. The same for Gemini, yeah, and the same for other models. And this year, it's a crucial for organizations who are developing and deploying. It's crucial to understand what is compliance all about, because starting from this year, there are certain obligations starting up, which actually can face, which can, let's say, if you don't follow them, you can face quite a big fines. Right. So, what is actually AI Act? I will be very short, just because most of you, I believe, already knows about this. When we're talking about AI Act, it's mostly, I think, the most important, let's say, message what it brings. It's European Commission. They try to regulate AI such that it will not harm people. So people's health, safety, and fundamental rights, they are actually centric in the when we talk about AI Act. So everything what can hurt health, safety, and fundamental rights, they're considered as a high risk or prohibited. Yeah. There are plenty of other AI systems, maybe some automation, which is even could be a fallout under definition of AI. So those are low risk. There are a lot of, let's say, AI which are using large language model on the back end. So basically Gen AI part. They fall under transparency obligations and high risk systems when we talk about people, health, safety, or fundamental rights, and prohibited system. We will focus today on the high risk because I think there is a lot of gray zones are and a lot of awareness need to be brought up. High risk systems could be very easily like what we just saw, HR screening tool because its effects on the fundamental rights. Because maybe your tool is completely biased and choosing the candidate based on their surname or based on their gender or location or something else. Yeah, so it means that those type of tools, they need. It doesn't mean that they are prohibited. They're allowed. I mean, they're high risk. They just need to be more control, and that's what's AI Act trying to establish. And of course, there are also prohibited systems. For example, within EU, we cannot use face recognition camera in public space. So that's, for example, prohibited. Yeah, that. So let us move further. And how they're going to implement the law is, because we have fines right now. If you have a fine, so basically that's also force organizations start looking into the compliance and take it seriously. Example, if you have, I don't know, Copilot or HR tool, which is screening your CV, which is high risk, and you didn't fulfill the requirements, you are very likely to be facing their 15 million, for example, or 3% of your global annual turnover. Yeah, that's the for misinformation, it's a little bit less. For prohibited AI, it's even more. Yeah, and even to reinforce it, there is a whistleblower platform existing. So everyone within EU can submit a concern. So you can be an employee of the company, you can be a person or legal entity working with this organization, you can be anyone related to the organizations about which you want to raise a concern. And what will happen? Then you trigger external audit, and then external audit will come to you, they look on your case. If they see that in organization there are several high-risk tools which are not being properly assessed, then you can face several fines. So it's not per organization, it's per tool. Yeah, so that's actually the differentiate of AI Act. It doesn't apply for organizations, it's apply for a particular system. So that's important to know, and there are some deadlines. So there is certain, let's say, requirements already in force. What is coming now, it's a transparency requirements. So transparency means that you need to put visual and machine readable signature on any AI generated context. I will not go deep into this part, but if you have questions, please ask. And high risk AI. So everything which is falls under high risk need to be properly assessed and need to have a CE mark. And the deadline is 2nd December 2027. Yeah, of course, there is some exceptions for existing systems, but in principle, starting from this date, you need to have it. And there are regulated products which contains AI. They also have their own deadline. It's basically all the products which we have on the market which already have CE mark, let's say toys, or if you go to the elevator, it's also CE marked usually. So all these regulated products, if they contains AI inside of this product, let's say chatbot inside the toy, yeah, inside the doll, then it's need to be also regulated. Yeah, so they have their own deadline. Right. And now we are coming to the core of this discussion, AI governance and who owns AI compliance. And actually, why do we need AI governance within organization? One of the examples could be why we need it. Let's say you have Copilot within your company. You have, I don't know, some of the engineering tools already AI enabled. You have Adobe with the AI assistant. Do you know actually how these tools has been used? Maybe your HR is getting all the CVs and loading it in the Copilot and asking, find me a best candidate. Or maybe you are using the same, for the same purpose, Adobe AI Assistant. You can also load there up to 100 documents and start chatting on them. Yeah, so that's also possible. So, and the fact is that if you remember about provider deployer role, there is one actually one aspects you need to be very careful about. It's how you using your AI tool is defines your role. One of the things which defines your role is also how you apply AI. Example, Microsoft saying that their Copilot or Adobe saying that their product is general purpose. They are not for high risk. They are for whatever use, your productivity tool. That's how they put it. If you're a company A, you have a UHR and HR start using Adobe to screen your CVs or to screen the CVs, or recruitment agencies start using Adobe AI to choose the best candidate. This company, because of their repurposing the general purpose, their general tool into the high risk area, applying it for the high risk area, this company becomes a provider. And that's what you need to remember. And as soon as you become the provider, going back, what you need to do and risk management and make sure the technical documentation, do conformity assessment and apply for CE marking. And that's what the company, just due to repurposing, have to do it. Because if you don't do it, if one of your employee or, I don't know, vendor or partner goes to their whistleblower platform and saying, you know what, I'm actually not sure whether how these organizations choose their candidates for interview, but I think they're biased because I tried several times, I couldn't, and they didn't invite me. I think because it's my family name, or something like this. And then we come to the point that there is a whistleblower platform, report, trigger, external audit. It comes to you in your organization, and then audit sees that you're going back to this HR using Copilot to screen the CVs. You know what? There is a fine. Yeah, so that's basically how that works. So you really need to be careful to know let's say, not too careful. You need to know how much AI you have, how many AI tools you have, and how it's being used. And that's what actually AI governance stands for. So it's make sure that it's you keep it under, let's say, control, awareness, and you can manage it. Well, that's I think that the slides which is talking about uh, silent shift, and what also important to highlight here, most of the time it's really a silent shift. Most of the time, this poor organization who start using AI as a productivity tool in the HR department, which is actually quite normal. I mean, we all want to be productive. We all want to use the help of nowadays LLMs and the different AI tools. But most of the organization doesn't know about these things, and that's what scares. Like companies I'm talking to, companies, even the software providers, even they don't know about this. Yeah, that so awareness is very low. And I'm very happy and thankful for inviting me to this forum because it's also the way how to increase the awareness. So that's one of their, let's say, hidden trap I want to talk about. Another one, oh, before I go, before I go to another trap, if we talk about the compliance, what I also see within, especially large organizations, there's very difficult to find someone or a team who actually owns the compliance, because compliance is not, who is looking under AI compliance is not only legal, it's not only IT, it's not only supply chain, not only operations, it's actually a combination. Yeah, legal doesn't know technical stuff. IT, they don't know maybe how operations, the details about how it's being used. Yeah, in fact. Operations that they actually they just want to do their job and they don't want to be disturbed. Yeah, most of the time they are just focused. Okay, give me tool for work. And the procurement, they procure, they make a contract, they ship it, they make sure that it's delivered, and then they are done. So in principle, compliance is somehow scattered without really having an owner. Yeah, so IT puts responsibilities on legal, quite common things, quite common scenarios, also in my experience. IT delivers, maybe they deal with procurement, but something compliance, no, it's legal. Don't talk to us. Yeah, that's and operation, they just they don't want to be disturbed neither by legal. They just go to IT, give me the tool. Legal, don't disturb me. I have a project. I have a client. We need to perform. Yeah, so it's sort of let's say quite important topic, but nobody really taking care about this in a manner such that it will cover all the aspects, including hidden AI and including how all your AI is being used. Yeah. So basically, the person or the team who will go to every functions like HR, like legal, like department managers, and screening what kind of AI they are using, how they are using, and whether there is any high risk scenarios. Yeah. So that's basically what's compliance supposed to do. Yeah, that I'm just looking on my time. I think one of the points I also want to emphasize in my talk is hidden provider trap. It's a real example. It's based on the real examples. I have several cases. I'm going to talk about this. How nowadays you can get just lost in getting your compliance right. Yeah. Let's say, imagine you buy a tool. Let's keep it with the HR platform. Yeah, because why I take HR? Because it's really straightforward, high risk. So it's easy example. Imagine you bought your HR platform from vendor A. Like everybody now work with HR platform. It could be Oracle, it could be Microsoft, it could be any other like small provider. But you have a platform where you have all your employee data. When you get some, I don't know, when you do your yearly assessment over there, when you see your salaries and all these things. Yeah. So you get your platform, HR platform, you bought it, you bought the very expensive, usually the very expensive license, you deploy it, which is also takes time because then you need to migrate from old way of working to the new way of working, training, user engagement, and so on, so on. So finally, you've done it. Good. It's working. Time goes, and then this HR platform, they come back to you, to your customer, and saying, "Hi, customer, you know what? I have a very nice feature over there. It's called AI Assistant, and it can help you to summarize goals for your employees or to summarize yearly assessment or performance for your employees. So instead of you typing it, you can just use the AI Assistant. It's sort of a chatbot, which is built on the top of your employee data. So easy for you. Brilliant. HR, we want it. Yeah, department managers definitely. It saves like end of year appraisals. It's our nightmare. Yeah, so much work. Let's do that. And ta-dan, here we are ending up high risk use case. So you have two options here. You can ask vendor, like vendor, are you going to take the responsibility of being high risk AI provider? So let's say it's I will call it vendor A. Yeah, that means that vendor need to handle all the conformity assessment, technical documentation, make sure that it checks all the training data or whatever it's used, all the data is used to train AI over there is accessible. There is no bias. Like everything is done and checked. Yeah, that's and they applied for CE mark. So this is the ideal scenario. Then you're as an organization, you say, thank you, vendor. We keep going working. Yeah, we just make sure that we have our responsibilities as a deployer. Most of the time, by the way, based on my experience, no one from vendor, I didn't met any vendor who actually took this responsibility till now. Because most of them trying to stay, we are out of high risk use case. Your customer, your application, like it's your use case, you're responsible. We cannot be responsible how you're using it. So most probably you'll end up in the situation when vendor says, as it is, like your customer, your problem. Yeah, like your use case, that's it. Even though we're not talking about, I don't know, general tool like Copilot, even though we're talking about very specific high risk application tool like HR platform. Yeah, that's you still have a very, I actually in my conversations with some of the vendors on some of the cases, after several ping pongs emails, who is responsible for what, they made a clearly legal statement that vendor cannot take responsibility of how customer is using it. Yeah, so that's so most probably that will be the scenario. Then you as an organization became provider. It means that you need to get technical documentation right, architecture information, data information, supplier, sub-suppliers data, everything you need to have at your hands. Yeah, like risk management evidence. So what you do, you go back to vendor because a lot of these documents, it's actually from your software provider. And you're asking your software provider which data he was using to train the models, how they build the component, the architecture, cybersecurity around it, data protection around it. So not just a statement, but really information about it, really information which could be confidential by some vendors. And that's you are coming to the next challenge point. Your vendor can cooperate and saying, although we're not taking high risk responsibility, but we make sure that we provide you information you need, which is good. Yeah, that's the. Or you can also find the vendors who is refusing. And several times when I brought this case to a potential vendor, some of the vendors who are not EU-based, who are from, I don't know, US or from outside of EU, they have no clue about the AI Act. So they actually, when we told them, are you willing to cooperate in case of high risk application? And we would need, in this case, your architecture, your data, and that, and that, and that, technical documentation. Especially small vendors, startups, scale ups, sometimes they say actually no, because it's their IP, because they don't want to reveal it. They don't want competitors to know. They don't want to risk that somehow it will be revealed. Yeah, or they don't just want to share with their clients some maybe architecture details or data details. Yeah, so in this case, they might refuse. And what happens with you? You have your tool, which is now deployed on the entire enterprise. The people start to get used to it. You finished your adoption plan. Your business is depending on this, and now you have to. The only option you have is to stop using it. So basically, that's the trap, and then you need to do all over again and find a new vendor. So basically, the most important, let's say, the milestone here, it's to understand when you need to start challenging procurement, and you need to start asking these questions in advance. What if? Are you going to cooperate? What if we will start applying this tool in this area? And if it's like this HR, let's say HR tool, which is most obvious will be a high risk area, you need to make sure that you put all these clauses in your contract. Because if you don't put in advance in your contracts, then you might face the issues afterwards. Yeah. So the most important is to know your AI, to know how it's being used, but also what happens in case of the future applications. Like, do we know it? Did we put some guardrails about this? Yeah, and I think that's it's quite realistic scenario. So I've really been in the cases when we get either vendor refuses, and almost all the cases vendors refuse to take a high risk provider. So maybe just to summarize, like before you sign your contract, especially when you are signing the multi-million contract for, I don't know, 5 years of services with a large enterprise software provider, of course, you always ask what AI can do today. And you want your AI be effective, you want your people start using it in the maximum effective way. Like you really want to benefit out of it, which is good. But also what you need to be aware and you need to start question is what if my use case will become high risk? Who will take the provider role in this case? Is it me or vendor? Put it in the contract. Yeah, you can agree with the vendor that's responsibilities that you take the responsibilities of the provider, but then make sure that you put also in the contract whatever evidence you need, whatever technical documentation you need, vendor must supply it to you. Yeah, and also what will happen if vendor will stop sharing information because of IP, because of whatever. Yeah, that's the whatever reason. So all of this now need to be in your contract. Yeah, before you make a deal. And that is why also AI governance, AI compliance team need to be exist within your organization. So I would say maybe just to conclude is to summarize what we talked before. It's to make sure have your inventory, identify the use cases. It's not just let's say obvious cases, but you really need to do a research within your organization, talks to different departments, to different functions, and see how they really use it on day to day. Be aware of this, assess the risk of these use cases, and then understand your roles and start establishing compliance roadmap, like a roadmap. Okay, what we need to do to stay compliant in this case? What is required? Check your contracts. Check your contracts with vendors, suppliers, sub-suppliers. Make sure that everything is in order, and monitor of course, continuously monitoring it. I think that was my last slide. I keep talking.
No,
I
it's
don't know
great.
if there
It's
is
great.
any questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Rima. It has been, wow, a very, for me, illustrative presentation regarding the risk. And if there is any question, please raise your hand. I already see some comments in the chat. Let me check. I think it was. Raise your hand if you have a question. So let's make it more flexible. Okay, here in the chat we have Cassandra. Would you like to open the micro, Cassandra, and ask the question by yourself? Or not?
Yes.
Yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead.
I'm
Thank you very much.
Just making sure all my things work. So I'm kind of interested in the fact that obviously the AI system can go out and draw upon a lot of information, and it can draw from all sorts of areas. And you know, the point for me is around this point where the ISO has set out sort of specific areas of regulation and points, but there's also that elements of, let's say, productivity of the workforce. And I'm sort of interested in the aspect that I think is slightly more hidden around the surveillance of the employee. I mean, the reason I look at this is because I'm actually looking at human automation and the rights of the employee, when you might be working in, say, a job share with an AI unit rather than another human, because that's obviously the way the workforce model is evolving, in the sense that a lot of organizations seem to think they can decrease workforce, replace it with an AI. So I'm interested. So my question was about this workforce governance on how AI is monitoring, evaluating, or influencing employee behavior.
Well, yeah. In principle, it's actually a false, quite straight under the high risk. So in certain, and even in some ways prohibited, like in certain areas, like you can't do it in the schools, for example. But if there are several questions in your one question thing. So I'm trying to segregate it. Let's take one by one. AI taking over and not taking over, but reducing the workforce. And so I think it's a myth. First of all, there's a lot of buzz around it. I know there are several companies, banking, airlines, who is doing a huge layoff and saying because we reduce our workforce because of AI. If you start going deeper into the details, you realize it's not because of AI. It's just because they start using automation even a little bit more in advance. So instead of Excel lists, they're coming to the common database. Yeah, instead of, I don't know, silos, drives, they start using cloud. It's just more they became automotive savvy. Yeah, that and AI is just a buzzword over there. My let's say my opinion is, if you are let's say engineer, if you engineer knowing AI and knowing how to use an AI, you will probably replace engineer who doesn't know AI. So that's the skill you need to have. But AI will not replace you as let's say in most of the case will not, because a part of like what is AI good for is for let's say repetitive work which has a certain patterns. Yeah, and I'm not talking about only general AI, but also maybe some traditional AI, more on computer vision. So that means that, but apart from this, you have your meetings, you have your human engagement, you have like all this part of work is actually still need to be done by human, organizing and yeah. So it's just tool. It's tool which is make you more effective. There are scenarios when at a certain moment, I don't know, AI will be watching us because we have AI boss or something like this. But that's actually, I'm also curious how it's going to be evolved. That's why the law is in there, because the law trying to sort of make a preventive measures for this type of systems, because those systems are definitely will be falling under high risk or prohibited, and they will make they want to put some guardrails to make sure that those systems will be operate under a lot of control, and it will be explainable, trustworthy, and so on, so on, and will keep human rights, fundamental rights, health, safety, and so. I don't like. I wish I would have the answer for this, but I just truly like. I believe that with this law, at least we have some guardrails. Yeah, maybe we'll end up in these scenarios, but hopefully we'll do it in the controllable manner. Yeah. So, yeah, don't know. But,
Yeah, thanks. I looked at, so I've already
Mhm.
deployed RPA, so I know about robotic process automation and that repetitive element. And the basis I was looking at is there's a Eurofound paper on robots, and they're seeing some of the impacts of robots on the workforce. And at the moment, we haven't got papers on AI, so I was using that as part of my research around what is the impact. So that was kind of where my point was coming from around this, and where another aspect of my work was a survey around digital leaders. And whilst they all wanted to deploy AI, none of them wanted responsibility, accountability, and they all wanted a framework for, who takes that element of responsibility. And exactly what you're saying is it's their job or it's their job. And I suppose in a way the AI and the surveillance is I'm sort of looking through different lenses around the impact of AI in a workforce. And I'm really pleased to hear you dismiss the myth of AI will replace jobs, because I think that is a really widely held myth that people seem to still be expecting to reduce overheads and costs rather than AI deployment within the workforce, and how that, training, the skills and everything is
there was like a lot of buzz actually was coming during the COVID period. There was a lot of hiring because companies was getting a lot of subsidies and everything else. So basically, a lot of after COVID layoff is also related to that. It was overhiring process. But then AI comes, then all this buzz with the ChatGPT, LLMs, and everything. So it's sort of created a good the foundation of this myth. Yeah, like, okay, AI comes, now we need to lay off people. But it was not only because there are probably some automation helps, but there are many, many other aspects behind this. It's just so many events happen in recent years. You can't just say this happened because of that one. Yeah, it's interplay. Yeah, so it's very complex.
Yeah, it is complex. Thank you for attempting an
Thank
answer
you.
to my question.
Yeah, thank you, Cassandra, for this thoughtful question, and thank you, Dr. Rimma. Do we have any other question? You know that we have experts from Thematic Working Group 6, Woman Shaping AI Economy, in this webinar, so just open the micro for them. A quick question for Dr. Rimma regarding gender, woman, and the AI Act from our experts, or not? Or should I go ahead? Hello? They are here, but they are mute. Oh, hello. Georgia, thank you very much. Yes, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I have a question to Dr. Rimma. Where do you see the main pain points in women entering the AI space, or where does the AI Act in general stop women in using it? Because we read so much about women not using AI enough because they feel as cheaters, for example. And what is your take on that?
Well, I didn't hear about this that's we're using it less than males, so I didn't hear about this fact.
Apparently, it's 1/3 of the women of the men using AI, especially on everyday work to summarize, I don't know, texts, or to create new texts, and they feel like cheaters when they use AI tools. So what is your take on that?
Well, let's say if we're talking from AI Act perspective, I think for women it will be better because then we know for sure that CV screening tools are not, let's say, biased on the gender. And then if you're a woman, you're getting the same chance to be considered as a male. I think from that bias perspective, it's way, way better. And I think from a perspective of using it, it just comes with experience. In principle, we are, let's say, I think in general, we still in a lot of professions have more male dominated. So it's just quantity of, I don't know, one gender is over the another. So most of the professions is male dominated. Yeah, that's because of whatever different reasons. And I think it's just adoption of AI. So when you're I'm working with AI since 2018 or something. So before even LLMs was popping up, I'm using plenty of AI tools, using it for variety of the version of the purposes. So I have trained I can immediately recognize generated text, because also generated patterns, generated picture. I can say, okay, this picture comes from ChatGPT, this comes from the cloud. So it's when you have a generated text, you have long dashes. When you type the text, you have short dashes. Yeah, that's one of the tips I'm just trying to give. But what I'm saying that everything has a pattern. Yeah. So and when you are using it more and more and more, you start recognizing it first of all, and you also start using it more consciously and more. Let's say, instead of just generating text and put it as it is. You understand that you need to do checks here and here. You understand where to trust AI, where you need to check on AI. Yeah. So I think it's more related to adoption. So maybe there is, I don't know, in general, the adoption going less within women's society for whatever reason. Maybe they work less, most of them. Maybe, yeah. It could be some psychological reason behind, but I think it's more related to adoption. So
Thank
more we
you.
use, more will be.
Sorry, Dr. Rimma. This is very interesting because there is a difference between use, the construct of use, and the construct of adoption from the psychology and from system information. They make this distinction. And I just realized how we are asking the users only, are you using or are you not using? Few research academic papers are paying attention for what you are using or the adoption you have that is completely different to the use, right? So it will be very interesting to discuss this also approach from the thematic working group 6, this distinction between adoption of tools or properly
used. I didn't think about this. Use and adoption.
Because,
it's really
well,
true.
anyway, I can say a couple of things here because my thesis is regarding the use of technology for education. So I make this distinction also. But anyway, it's not my webinar, and I would like to know if Chiara or another of the thematic working group experts have another question regarding, Chiara, probably you have any question regarding this, please. The floor is yours. No, we cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry.
No, just now.
Tiny little thing. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was brilliant. For the slide where it had like deployer and provider, I think one of the trickiest things that I see at the moment is, say you're using one of the, whether it's Copilot or Gemini, and you have people internally creating new little applications within that. And it's hard to find the distinction between, are we then becoming a provider? Especially when it comes to potential high risk cases. So if it's pulling in a lot of personal data, because it's hard to say that we're a provider if we don't have access to the models and the ability to do the paperwork essentially. And yet we're a deployer, but it's not exactly the use case that the original provider had in mind.
Yeah. I hope I get your question right, but basically it's the distinguishing between provider deployer and when this thin line is moving. Yes, that's yeah. It's indeed, it's very, and that's, I think, it's the thoughts we all need to process. Then to be a provider, you don't need to be a real provider of technology. Like to be a provider, you can trigger this provider responsibility just by the way how you're using it. And that's, I think, the turning point. Like we really need to keep remember about this. And let's say that's why a lot of organizations right now, they start issuing the policies. I think the policy is the most important. For example, if you are the company using Copilot and your HR also using Copilot, not only for high risk use case, but maybe just for summary of the text or whatever, just what usually organizations are doing, they're creating a policies where they stated, where indicated all the potential high risk use cases. And for example, saying, okay, HR don't use for CV screening, it's prohibited, yeah? Or, I don't know, like department managers don't use for final appraisal Copilot because we need a special tool for this. Yeah, that's the, and they need to supply also a dedicated tool for these things, or just through the policies, you can also put some guardrails. And that's what external auditors will also look at. If you have a policies, it's maybe already good enough. If you follow the policies, of course, you need to follow them. So that's already is enough guardrails, yeah, that, and AI literacy, it's all comes along. So your staff need to be trained how to use Copilot, not how to use Copilot like from the user perspective, where which button, what does it mean, but more for which cases you can use it, for which case you cannot, so on. So that's a part of AI literacy, which is also by law.
Yeah.
Very
I see
good.
another.
Yeah, sorry. Anything else you want to say, Chiara, or no?
No.
Dr. Rima? No, because we have another question. Rania, whenever you want, the floor is yours.
Hi,
Rania,
hi everyone.
Rania is another member. Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, hi, and thank you for this interesting webinar. I have a question. Our field evidence revealed a systematic failure in internal data escalation pipeline. AI generated inside are bypassing data owner and reaching C-suite dashboard with zero semantic traceability. So given that traditional IT metric failed to capture the risk, what specific operational KPI must an organization implement under the AI Act to trigger a mandatory act in this escalation process before the board acts on non-compliant or hallucinated data? Because this is exactly what I can find in several organizations right now.
So basically, what you're talking about is it's AI created certain of data flows which are not being properly processed, checked, and so on before it comes to the table of the C-level people.
Exactly.
Something like, yeah. Well, that's also part of AI. At least maybe it might not be a high risk per se, so it depends. It's maybe very risky tool or very important tool for the organization, but it might not be high risk from AI point of view. But in this case, your AI governance play crucial role, because AI governance, it means that you have everything, like all the necessary guardrails in place, including someone who checks cybersecurity, who check architectural, who do this testing, like make sure that, okay, we want to adopt AI for this data pipeline. Yeah, that's to gather the data, create a summary, and bring it to the C-level people. So you need the one who is the owner of this project, who deploys or who develop this tool, and then you need to have a team who is actually checking that all the guardrails are in place. This is AI governance. And if you don't have it, then you have the situation that someone developed tool, someone deployed it, nobody check for cybersecurity, for data controls, for I don't know, some legal aspects. Yeah.
Yes, but Rima, by semantic traceability, I'm not talking about basic IT data lineage, tracking a file from point A to point B. I'm referring to the preservation of the original business context and meaning as data is processed, summarized, or generated by an AI model like an LLM. So traditional lineage tells us where the data came from. Semantic traceability proves that the AI hasn't distorted the underlying meaning, stripped away critical bias warning, or hallucinated a correlation before pushing it into C-suite dashboard. So if a board makes a decision based on AI-generated summary that lost its original context, technical compliance is useless. They are legally exposed, and that is the exact gap or our KPI needs to measure. Do you understand
I understand what you mean, and I agree with you.
Yeah,
I understand that. I agree with you. It's a lot of well, when I was a global AI lead, so we develop and deploy AI products, and for example, what we are telling this it's need to be tackled during the quality assurance test. So someone need to make sure that whatever AI is gathered, that information is let's say remains in certain way, that there is test groups created, there is several, I don't know, red team from cybersecurity who is doing some tests about how to maybe potential adversarial attacks on the systems. So basically, it's a sort of mature approach on the developing and deploying software. You need everyone, developers, testers, sandbox, to actually run it for a couple of months to see how it's working before deploying it. A lot of organizations, as you rightly says, they are in rush to deploy as much as possible, as fast as possible AI, to say we're using AI, we're good. Like give us bonus or give us whatever.
Yes.
And that's where it's coming from. Like instead of proper deployment through the testing, through the sandbox, and then let's say on the corporate level deployment, everybody just rush and put the pilots immediately into the production. And that's where it's, agree.
And this is a real problem, especially in 2026, because we start with a new era, AI era, and in fact, most of the organization, they are testing and they try and they stress test their own organization in order to correct, modify, and also invest a lot of money with so what would be your point of view of our actual reality in 2026 regarding what we're doing as AI compliance and the real world of workforce and C-level?
Well, it can help, at least maybe not in a direct way, because we're not talking about the risk classification per se. We're talking about how it's been properly from pilot to deployment stage to the production stage. But it can happen in a way that when you need to stay compliant to AI Act, you can't avoid to have a proper governance in place and the compliance team in place. And that means if you have governance, you cannot choose, okay, for this product, we apply the AI governance, for this product, we're not applying. As an organization, you start a little bit more mature in about how we bring the product, how we test it, how we, trying in the sandbox, and then how we deploy. So usually organizations who start looking on the to be AI Act compliant, they start building this proper workflow from the pilot to the production. And that's indirect how it can help. Yeah.
I totally work. Okay. Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Rania, and thank you, Dr. Rimma, again. And as far as I know, I would like to share with everybody that Dr. Rimma is the founder of Explora AI, and is for helping enterprises to accomplish the mandate or the conformity with the EU
conformity
Act,
assessment,
right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can offer there evaluations, independent evaluations. And how do you see the industry? Do you see that there are going to be a lot of people that has to pay because they don't comply, or people don't know about this? We need to sensibilize more, or what?
Well, to be honest, is if I look on the industry, I wonder how it's going to be next year, because a lot of most of the industry are still sleeping. There is, as I said, awareness is close to zero. Some of them start waking up and putting this AI governance around, but mostly because of data protection and cybersecurity attacks and what's on. But the AI Act and responsibilities, provider, deployer roles, and so on, it's not really synced yet. And the fact is, the law is enforced next year. So till that time, you need to do a lot of work, prepare the documentation, prepare your management system, risk management system, everything. And you need to do conformity assessment and CE mark. And you know how many conformity assessment bodies are in Netherlands?
No.
Where almost everyone using AI, only two. Only two for entire country. Yes. So these conformity assessment bodies, of course, they are, let's say, they are must for certain AI products, like which are biometrics, usually using like camera recognition, face recognition, stuff like that. But a lot of organization will need independent conformity assessment body to prove that whatever they do, let's say they did it good. Yeah, so or advisory or support in a self-assessment. And I'm just wonder how it's going to be in real life, because it will be an avalanche and there will be not so many conformity assessment bodies available. So yeah, I don't know.
And another thing that worries me a lot, and probably I will ask you out of the webinar, because I create, maybe this is one of your use cases. I create my own GPT in ChatGPT regarding, as you say, human resources, how to create your CV, how to make interviews. And well, I don't think I am in the high risk.
No, because
and I don't think I have to care because
No.
it's ChatGPT.
No.
So probably I'm prone, right?
No, it's only applied to the legal entity. So you as a
Okay.
person, as a natural person, you
As entrepreneur that I'm launching this GPT, the name is Cognomentor, by the way. If I, I have customers, not yet, but if I have it, in fact, I want to delete it after this webinar. I don't want to take the risk. Should I be worried or not?
Well, you need to make sure that whatever you do, you just need to understand what could be a use case for your tool.
Okay.
You clearly identify what is your tool, like what you are support, which use case you are supporting, which use case you are not supporting as a provider. And then you can still say on the, let's say that you are general tool provider, not high risk AI provider. But it means that you really need to clearly identify and tell your potential users not to use in this area. Or if you use it, be aware that you are taking responsibilities. Yeah. So that's clarity. And as I said, I didn't see any software provider who are now taking responsibility of high risk AI provider. So if you decide actually to do it, your markets will be very good. You will have a lot of demand. So the niche is open. So I would say even consider it as a potential opportunity rather than a blocker.
Okay, I will check and study this and I will take a decision. Thank you very much, Dr. Rimma. In fact, has been a very, very illustrative webinar. I will write you and I will let you know more about Thematic Working Group 6. And thank you. I already see comments that this has been very, very high level. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for invitation.
We are going to finish here. So.
All right, thank you.
I just have a last question, Rimma. And Ruth, can we have the email contact of Rimma, please?
What did you say? Sorry? Say again.
I would like to know if we can share email in order to pursue our conversation.
I will share her contact. Yes, I will share her contact with
excellent. Thank you, Rimma.
with all the participants. Yeah, and also in LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. So as far as you can see, Dr. Rimma, you already have probably customers or allies, no? That's good.
No, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
just shoot me a question and I will try to respond as soon as I
Well, you know
get
that
it.
thematic
Yeah.
working group 6 is more focusing woman shaping AI economy, and we also are having a look to the high level risk, because there is a contribution right now, a consultant regarding the AI Act.
Yeah.
Regarding this, yes, so we are exploring if we have to make a comment regarding how woman has to take care. So we want woman to
that's
be
very
high risk level.
interesting.
Yes.
Very
So it will
interesting.
be
You know,
great if we can, with your support or your, to have a look to
I
what
would
we
love
are
to
providing.
contribute, because I think I truly think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. We have something to say also, no? We cannot be apart. Yeah. And okay, so I'm going to finalize here. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.